Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair, staring at the stars through the main window of his ship. The Terra's Pride was humanity's newest and fastest ship. It could travel between stars in just a few days. Jake and his crew had been exploring space for 3 months now, looking for new worlds where humans could live. The year was 2387, and Earth had finally learned how to travel faster than light. For the first time in human history, people were living on other planets. Jake's job was to find more places where humans could build homes among the stars. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Ben Clark from his station, "I'm getting something strange on the communications array. It's not from Earth." Jake turned his chair toward Ben. The young officer looked confused and a little scared. In all their months of exploration, they had never received any messages from space. Earth had always wondered if other life existed in the galaxy, but they had never found proof. "What kind of message?" Jake asked. "It's coming from multiple star systems at once. The signal is incredibly strong, and Captain ... It's not in any human language." Jake felt his heart beat faster. First contact with alien life was something every human had dreamed about. But the look on Ben's face told him this was not a happy message. "Put it on the main speakers," Jake ordered. The bridge filled with strange sounds. There were clicking noises, musical tones, and what sounded like electronic beeping. But underneath all the alien sounds, Jake could hear something else. Fear. Pure, desperate fear. "Can we translate any of it?" Jake asked. Lieutenant Amy Foster, the ship's science officer, worked quickly at her computer. "I'm running it through our language programs. The computer is finding patterns. It's like the message is being repeated in many different languages." After several minutes, Amy looked up with wide eyes. "Captain, I think I have part of it translated. The message is a call for help. Someone is asking for military assistance." Jake stood up from his chair. "Military assistance? Are you sure?" "Yes, sir." The words keep repeating. Help, danger, death, and something about devourers. "Devourers?" Jake asked. That's what the computer translated. Something called the devourers. Suddenly, another voice came from the communication system. This time it was speaking in broken English. "Please, any who can hear. We need help. ... The devourers have returned. 12 worlds are gone. ... We cannot stop them. ... Please help us." The bridge went silent. Jake and his crew stared at each other in shock. Somewhere in space, an alien civilization was calling for help. They were under attack by something called the devourers, and they were losing badly. "Amy, can you trace where this message is coming from?" Jake asked. "It's coming from everywhere, Captain. At least 17 different star systems are broadcasting this message. This isn't just one alien species asking for help. This is multiple civilizations working together." Jake walked to the main window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, alien worlds were being destroyed. Beings that humans had never met were dying, and they were asking anyone who could hear them for help. "Ben, send a message to Earth immediately. Tell them we have made first contact, and it's an emergency. Send them everything we just heard." "Yes, sir," Ben replied, his fingers flying over his controls. "Amy, keep working on that translation. I want to know everything they're saying." As Amy worked, more of the message became clear. The alien voices spoke of an enemy that had been sleeping for thousands of years. The devourers had awakened and were moving from star system to star system, destroying everything in their path. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Council. There were 17 different species that had worked together in peace for over 3,000 years. But now they were facing an enemy they could not defeat. "Captain," Amy said quietly, "I'm getting more details. The aliens are saying their weapons don't work against the devourers. Their military fleets have been destroyed. They're asking for anyone with advanced weapons to come help them." Jake thought about Earth's military. Humans had been fighting wars for their entire history. They had nuclear weapons, particle beams, and ships designed for battle. But would human weapons work against an enemy that could defeat 17 alien civilizations? How long until we hear back from Earth? Jake asked Ben. At least 6 hours, Captain. The message has to travel all the way back to Sol System. Jake nodded. 6 hours felt like forever when alien worlds were being destroyed. Keep monitoring the signal, Jake ordered. I want to know if anything changes. Over the next few hours, the message became more desperate. The alien voices spoke faster and with more fear. Amy translated reports of entire star systems going dark. Billions of alien lives were being lost, and the Devourers were moving closer to more populated worlds. Captain, Amy said, her voice shaking. They're saying the Devourers are heading toward their capital world. If that falls, the Galactic Council will be finished. Jake gripped the arms of his command chair. Humanity had just learned they were not alone in the universe, and the first thing they discovered was that their galactic neighbors were facing extinction. Sir, Ben called out, I'm getting a response from Earth Command. They're ordering us to return home immediately. Priority Alpha. Priority Alpha meant drop everything and come home as fast as possible. Something big was happening on Earth. Set course for Earth, Jake ordered. Maximum speed. As the Terra's Pride turned toward home, Jake listened to the alien voices still calling for help across the galaxy. He wondered what Earth's leaders would decide. Would humanity try to help aliens they had never met? Could they even make a difference against an enemy that had already defeated so many others? The stars stretched into lines as the ship jumped to faster than light speed. Behind them, the desperate calls for help continued to echo across space. The galaxy was crying for help, and Earth was about to decide how to answer. President Mary Johnson sat at the head of the long table in the White House Situation Room. Around her were the most important people in Earth's government and military. The alien message had been playing on repeat for 12 hours now, and everyone in the room had heard it dozens of times. Let me make sure I understand this correctly, President Johnson said, looking at the reports in front of her. We have just made first contact with alien life, and they are asking us to help them fight a war. General Chris Baker, the head of Earth's military forces, nodded. That's correct, Madam President. The message is clear. Something called the Devourers is destroying alien worlds, and the Galactic Council cannot stop them. How many alien species are we talking about? The President asked. Based on the different languages in the message, at least 17 different civilizations, replied Dr. Amy Foster, who had been brought to Earth to help with the translation. They've been working together for over 3,000 years. President Johnson leaned back in her chair. 3,000 years of peace, and now they're facing extinction. What do we know about these Devourers? Admiral Nick Johnson, the head of Earth's space fleet, spoke up. Not much, Madam President. The aliens say they are ancient. They consume entire worlds, and conventional weapons don't work against them. 12 star systems have already been destroyed. 12 star systems, the President repeated. How many people are we talking about? If each system had planets like Earth, we could be talking about billions of deaths, Dr. Foster said quietly. The room fell silent. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Could Earth really help aliens they had never met fight an enemy that had already defeated civilizations thousands of years more advanced than humanity? What are our military capabilities? President Johnson asked General Baker. We have 12 battle cruisers, each armed with nuclear weapons, particle beams, and kinetic rounds. We also have 40 smaller ships with lighter weapons. All our ships are designed for combat, not exploration. Why are our ships different from the alien ships? The President asked. General Baker smiled grimly. Because humans have been fighting wars for our entire history. Our ships are built to destroy enemy ships and win battles. Based on what we're hearing, the alien ships were built for peaceful purposes. Dr. Foster pulled up a holographic display showing the translated alien messages. The aliens keep talking about honor and ceremonial combat. It sounds like they fight duels instead of wars. They have never faced an enemy that wants to completely destroy them. And we have? President Johnson asked. Madam President, humans have fought wars of complete destruction many times throughout our history. We understand total war in a way these aliens apparently do not. Commander Alex Rodriguez, who had just returned from space, raised his hand. Madam President, I've been thinking about this. The aliens are more advanced than us in many ways. They have faster ships, better technology, and they've been traveling between stars for thousands of years. But they've never had to fight for their survival. What do you mean? The President asked. Humans evolved as hunters, Madam President. We spent millions of years hunting animals that could kill us. We learned to work together, to use weapons, and to never give up. These aliens sound like they evolved on peaceful worlds where they never had to fight for anything. General Baker nodded. That's a good point. Our weapons are designed to kill. Our tactics are designed to win at any cost. If the aliens can't hurt these devourers, maybe it's because they don't know how to fight a real war. President Johnson looked around the room. So you're telling me that humanity might be able to defeat an enemy that has destroyed 17 advanced civilizations? It's possible, Admiral Johnson said, but it would be incredibly dangerous. We would be fighting an enemy we know nothing about, in space we've never seen, alongside aliens we've never met. What are the risks if we don't help? The President asked. Dr. Foster looked at her notes. If the Galactic Council falls, the Devourers will have consumed an entire galaxy. Eventually, they might come to our galaxy. We would be facing the same enemy, but we would be alone. And if we help now? The President asked. We might be able to stop them while we have all eyes, General Baker said. But we could lose our entire fleet. President Johnson stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the lights of Washington, D.C. Somewhere in space, alien cities were being destroyed. Alien families were dying. And Earth was the only hope they had left. General Baker, how quickly can we get our fleet ready for combat? She asked. Our ships are always ready, Madam President. We could launch within 24 hours. Admiral Johnson, do we have enough fuel and supplies for a long mission? Yes, Madam President. Our ships are designed for extended combat operations. President Johnson turned back to the room. Dr. Foster, can we communicate with these aliens? Can we tell them we're coming? I believe so. The translation program is getting better every hour. We should be able to send a basic message. The President walked back to her chair and sat down. Everyone in the room was watching her, waiting for her decision. She thought about the millions of people on Earth who were counting on her to keep them safe. But she also thought about the billions of aliens who were dying while she sat in this room. I want to hear the message one more time, she said. Dr. Foster played the recording. The alien voices filled the room, speaking in languages no human had ever heard before. But underneath the strange words, everyone could hear the same thing. Fear, desperation, and hope. Double quotes, please. Any who can hear. We need help. The Devourers have returned. We cannot stop them. Please help us. When the message ended, President Johnson looked around the room. How many of you have children? Several hands went up. How many of you have grandchildren? More hands went up. Those alien voices we just heard. They're somebody's children, somebody's grandchildren. They're asking for help, and we're the only ones who can give it. General Baker leaned forward. Madam President, I have to ask, are you prepared to risk Earth's entire military to save aliens? We've never met? President Johnson was quiet for a long moment. General, are you prepared to live with yourself if we don't try? The room fell silent again. Here's what we're going to do, President Johnson said. We're going to send our fleet to help the Galactic Council. But we're not going to fight their war the way they want us to. We're going to fight it the human way. What do you mean? Admiral Johnson asked. I mean, we're going to show these devourers what happens when they threaten something humans care about. We're going to use every weapon we have, every dirty trick we know, and every advantage we can find. We're going to fight like humans have always fought, to win. General Baker smiled. What about the aliens? They might not like our methods. They asked for help, President Johnson replied. They're going to get it. Dr. Foster, prepare a message for the Galactic Council. Tell them humanity is coming. As the meeting ended, President Johnson stayed behind to look out the window again. In a few hours, Earth's entire military would be heading into space to fight an enemy they had never seen. It was the biggest risk humanity had ever taken. But as she listened to the alien voices still calling for help, she knew it was the right choice. The galaxy was crying for help, and humanity was going to answer with everything they had. Captain Sarah Williams gripped the arms of her command chair as the Terran Vengeance dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Around her ship, 11 other human vessels appeared in flashes of blue light. They had traveled farther from Earth than any human had ever gone before. Where are we? Sarah asked her navigation officer. The Kalani system, Captain, Lieutenant Ben Clark replied. According to the alien coordinates, this is where the Galactic Council fleet is supposed to be. Sarah looked at the main screen and saw something that made her heart skip a beat. Dozens of alien ships floated in space near a beautiful blue and green planet. The ships were unlike anything humans had ever built. They were smooth and curved, with no visible weapons. They looked more like works of art than military vessels. Captain, called out her communications officer, I'm receiving a message from the alien fleet. They're speaking English. Put it on the main screen, Sarah ordered. The screen showed an alien face that was both beautiful and strange. The being had large eyes, smooth skin, and a gentle expression. When it spoke, its voice was soft and musical. Human vessels, I am. High Commander HFY of the Asteran Empire. We thank you for coming to help us. We have been waiting for your arrival. Sarah stood up from her chair. High Commander, this is Captain Sarah Williams of the Terran Vengeance. We're here to help you fight the Devourers. The alien's large eyes seemed to grow even larger. Captain Williams, I must warn you. The Devourers are not like any enemy you have faced. They are not machines or ships. They are living creatures the size of moons. Our weapons cannot harm them. Where are they now? Sarah asked. High Commander HFY looked sad. They are attacking the Kalani homeworld as we speak. We have been firing at them for 6 hours, but nothing we do causes them any damage. Sarah turned to her tactical officer. Lieutenant Luke Adams, scan the area around the planet. Show me these Devourers. Luke worked at his controls for several minutes, then looked up with a shocked expression. Captain, you need to see this. The main screen changed to show the planet below. But floating in the planet's atmosphere were 3 massive creatures that defied belief. Each one was easily the size of a small moon, with dark, writhing flesh, and tentacles that reached down to the planet's surface. They were literally eating the planet, consuming mountains and oceans. My God, Sarah whispered. They're alive. Yes, High Commander HFY said. They feed on matter and energy. They consume everything, rocks, water, air, and all living things. When they are finished, nothing remains but empty space. Sarah watched as the alien ships fired their weapons at the creatures. Beautiful beams of colored light struck the devourers, but the creatures didn't even seem to notice. They continued feeding as if the alien ships weren't there. "Hi, Commander. What weapons are you using?" Sarah asked. "Particle beams designed for ceremonial combat," the alien replied. "They are the most advanced weapons in the galaxy." Sarah looked at her weapons officer. "What do you think, Commander Paul Harris?" Paul studied the alien weapons on his screen. "Captain, their weapons are designed to be clean and precise. They're trying to fight these things like they're in a formal duel. But these creatures aren't following any rules." "What do you recommend?" Sarah asked. "We treat them like the animals they are," Paul replied. "We use weapons designed to cause pain and damage, not weapons designed to be polite." Sarah nodded. She opened a channel to all the human ships. "All vessels, this is Captain Williams. We're looking at 3 massive creatures that are eating a planet. The alien weapons aren't working because they're too clean. We're going to show these things what human weapons can do." Lieutenant Adams raised his hand. "Captain, I've been analyzing the creatures. They seem to have sensory organs, things that look like eyes and what might be nerve clusters. If we target those areas, they'll feel pain," Sarah finished. "And if they can feel pain, they can feel fear." High Commander Zephyhi looked confused. "Captain Williams, what do you mean by pain and fear? These concepts are not part of our military doctrine." Sarah realized the aliens truly didn't understand warfare the way humans did. They had been fighting with honor and ceremony for so long that they had forgotten how to hurt their enemies. "High Commander, humans learned long ago that the best way to defeat an enemy is to make them afraid to fight you. We're going to hurt these creatures so badly that they'll think twice before attacking another world." Sarah turned to her weapons officer. "Paul, target the largest creature. I want nuclear missiles aimed at what look like its eyes. Then follow up with particle beams and kinetic rounds aimed at those nerve clusters." "Yes, Captain," Paul replied. With a grin, "All ships follow the Terran Vengeance's lead. We're going to show the galaxy how humans fight." The human ships moved into attack formation. Unlike the alien vessels, which approached the Devourers one at a time in formal lines, the human ships spread out and attacked from multiple angles at once. "Fire," Sarah commanded. 12 nuclear missiles streaked toward the largest devourer. They struck the creature's eyes in a series of bright explosions. For the first time since the battle began, the creature stopped feeding. It made a sound that could be heard across space, a howl of pain and surprise. "It worked," Lieutenant Adams shouted. "The creature is reacting." The human ships pressed their attack. Particle beams designed to cut through armor sliced into the creature's flesh. Kinetic rounds, simple chunks of metal fired at incredible speed, punched deep holes in its body. The devourer thrashed in pain, its tentacles pulling away from the planet's surface. Black fluid that might have been blood leaked from its wounds into space. "High Commander," Sarah called to the alien leader. "Are you seeing this?" "Yes," Zephyhi replied, his voice filled with amazement. "In 3,000 years of galactic history, no one has ever made a devourer retreat from feeding." The other 2 devourers stopped eating and turned toward the human ships. But instead of attacking, they began to move away from the planet. "They're running," Luke Adams said in disbelief. "No," Sarah corrected. "They're learning. We hurt their friend, and now they know we can hurt them too." Commander Paul Harris looked up from his weapons console. "Captain, all 3 creatures are leaving the planet's atmosphere. They're heading for open space." Sarah opened a channel to the alien fleet. "High Commander, can your ships pursue them?" "Pursue them?" Zephyhi asked. "But they are retreating. The battle is over." "No," Sarah replied firmly. "The battle is over when they're all dead. If we let them escape, they'll just attack another world." Sarah could see the confusion on the alien commander's face. The concept of pursuing a retreating enemy was foreign to their way of thinking. "All human ships pursuit course," Sarah ordered. "We're not letting these things escape to hurt more innocent people." The human fleet chased the wounded devourers into deep space. The creatures were fast, but they were also injured and leaking vital fluids. The human ships caught up to them near the edge of the star system. "Target the wounded one first," Sarah commanded. "Hit it with everything we have." The human ships surrounded the largest devourer and opened fire with all weapons. Nuclear explosions lit up space as the creature writhed in agony. Finally, after several minutes of constant bombardment, the massive creature stopped moving. "It's dead," Lieutenant Adams reported. The other two devourers immediately fled toward the next star system. Moving faster than the human ships could follow, Sarah opened a channel to High Commander Zephi. "High Commander, we killed one of them. The other two are heading toward your territory." "Captain Williams," the alien replied, his voice filled with wonder. "In all the battles against the devourers, we have never killed even one." "How did you do it?" Sarah thought about how to explain human warfare to a species that had never really fought a war. "High Commander, humans spent millions of years learning how to hunt dangerous animals. We know that sometimes the only way to stop a predator is to become a better predator. We made those creatures afraid of us." "Afraid," Zephi repeated. "This is a new concept for us." "Then you better learn it quickly," Sarah replied, "because we're going to teach the rest of the devourers to be afraid of humans too." As the human fleet prepared to pursue the fleeing creatures, Sarah looked at the planet they had just saved. Millions of alien lives had been spared because humans knew how to fight like the predators they had always been. The galaxy had cried for help, and humanity had answered with the one thing they understood better than anyone else: the will to hunt down and destroy anything that threatened the innocent. News of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. For the first time in months, the Galactic Council had something to celebrate. But Admiral Nick Johnson, now commanding the human fleet from Earth, knew that killing one devourer was just the beginning. "We can't just react to their attacks," Admiral Johnson told his staff during a video conference with the fleet commanders. "If we want to win this war, we need to hunt them down before they reach populated worlds." Captain Sarah Williams, still aboard the Terran Vengeance, nodded in agreement. "Admiral, the aliens are amazed that we hurt the devourers at all. But they still don't understand how we think about warfare." "What do you mean?" asked Colonel Lisa Brown, the newly appointed commander of Earth's Special Forces. "They think the battle is over when the enemy retreats," Sarah explained. "They don't understand that we need to track down and kill every single devourer, or they'll just keep attacking." Dr. Kevin White, Earth's leading expert on alien biology, appeared on the screen from his laboratory. "I've been studying the samples we collected from the dead devourer. What we're dealing with is unlike anything that evolved naturally." "What did you find?" Admiral Johnson asked. "The creatures are part of a hive mind," Dr. White replied. "They share thoughts and experiences across vast distances. When we hurt one of them, all the others felt it too." Colonel Brown leaned forward. "Are you saying they're all connected?" "Exactly. And that gives us an opportunity. The devourers have existed for millions of years, but they've never encountered an enemy that could cause them real pain. They don't know how to deal with fear." Major Kate Davis, Earth's psychological warfare specialist, smiled. "Doctor, you suggesting we can use their hive mind against them?" "That's exactly what I'm suggesting," Dr. White replied. "If we can make them afraid enough, they might stop attacking altogether." Admiral Johnson thought about this for a moment. "What do you have in mind?" Major Davis pulled up a holographic display. "We start broadcasting the death screams of the devourer we killed. We send the signal across subspace, so every devourer in the galaxy hears it. We make them understand that humans are hunting them. That's psychological torture on a galactic scale, Colonel Brown said. Yes, Admiral Johnson replied grimly. And it might be exactly what we need to do. Captain Williams spoke up from her ship. Admiral, I have High Commander HFY here with me. He wants to know what humanity's planning next. Put him on the screen, Admiral Johnson ordered. The alien commander appeared, looking both hopeful and confused. Admiral Johnson, the Galactic Council is grateful for your help, but we do not understand your strategy. Why do you want to hunt the Devourers instead of defending our worlds? Admiral Johnson chose his words carefully. High Commander, humans learned long ago that the best defense is a good offense. If we wait for the Devourers to attack, innocent people die. If we hunt them down first, we save lives. But hunting implies killing them all, HFY said slowly. Yes, Admiral Johnson replied without hesitation. Every single one? The alien commander was quiet for a long moment. Admiral, the Galactic Council has never fought a war of complete extinction. We do not know if this is morally acceptable. High Commander, Admiral Johnson said, how many of your people have the Devourers killed? Billions, HFY replied sadly. Then the moral choice is clear. We stop them permanently, or they keep killing. Over the next few weeks, humanity began the strangest military campaign in galactic history. Instead of defending planets and waiting for attacks, human ships spread out across space, actively hunting for devourer entities. Commander Paul Harris led a group of fast attack ships that specialized in tracking the creatures. We're not fighting a traditional enemy, he explained to his pilots. These things are like giant space whales. We need to think like whale hunters. The human ships began using tactics that horrified the alien observers. They set traps, coordinated ambushes, and used the Devourer's own feeding patterns against them. When they found a creature feeding on an asteroid field, they would surround it and attack from all sides at once. Davis's psychological warfare campaign was working too well. The screams of dying Devourers were broadcast across subspace, 24 hours a day. The creatures that had terrorized the galaxy for millions of years were learning what it felt like to be prey. Captain Lisa Stone commanded a group of human ships that cornered a Devourer near a gas giant. This one's trying to hide, she reported to Admiral Johnson. It's actually hiding from us. Confirmed kill? The Admiral asked. Confirmed kill, Lisa replied. That makes 7 Devourers destroyed by human forces. But the real breakthrough came when Dr. White made a discovery that changed everything. Admiral, I found something in the alien databases. The Devourers aren't just randomly attacking worlds. They're all connected to a central entity, something the aliens call the Great Devourer. How big are we talking? Admiral Johnson asked. The size of a gas giant, Dr. White replied. It's been sleeping in dark space between star systems, but our attacks have woken it up. The smaller Devourers are all connected to it like fingers. On a hand, Colonel Brown understood immediately. If we can kill the central entity, all the others die too, Dr. White confirmed. Admiral Johnson called an emergency meeting with the Galactic Council. High Commander HFY and representatives from all 17 alien species appeared on the screen. We've found the source of your Devourer problem, Admiral Johnson announced. There's a central entity that controls all the others. We're going to destroy it. Admiral, said an alien with crystal-like features, our records indicate that the Great Devourer has existed since before our civilizations began. It is older than recorded history. I don't care how old it is, Admiral Johnson replied. We're going to kill it. Another alien, this one resembling a large insect, spoke up. The Great Devourer is sacred to many cultures. It is considered force of nature, like a star or a black hole. Forces of nature don't murder billions of innocent people, Admiral Johnson said firmly. We're ending this. The plan was simple, but incredibly dangerous. The entire human fleet would converge on the Great Devourer's location in dark space. They would attack it with every weapon they had, including their most powerful nuclear devices. Captain Williams volunteered to lead the attack. Admiral, the Terran Vengeance has the heaviest armor and the biggest nuclear arsenal. We'll go in first. Sarah, this is essentially a suicide mission, Admiral Johnson said. That thing is the size of a planet. Sir, someone has to do it, and humans are the only ones crazy enough to try. The battle began 3 days later. 12 human ships attacked an entity so large it had its own gravity field. The Great Devourer had been sleeping in space for millions of years, dreaming of the worlds it would consume. But humanity had brought it a different kind of dream, a nightmare. The creature fought back with tentacles that could crush battleships and energy beams that could melt armor. But the human ships kept coming, attacking like a pack of wolves. Bringing down a giant, Captain Williams made the final attack run. The Terran Vengeance, damaged in leaking atmosphere, flew directly into the creature's central mass. As alarms blared and systems failed around her, Sarah looked at her crew. It's been an honor serving with all of you, she said. Captain, her weapons officer called out. Nuclear devices are armed and ready. For Earth, Sarah said, and pressed the firing button. The explosion could be seen from 3 star systems away. When the light faded, the Great Devourer was gone. Across the galaxy, every remaining Devourer entity stopped moving and died. The galaxy was finally safe, but the victory had cost humanity its bravest ship and crew. As rescue ships searched for survivors, Admiral Johnson received a message from the Galactic Council. Admiral Johnson, High Commander FEI said, the galaxy owes humanity a debt that can never be repaid. You have done what we could not do. In 3,000 years of trying. High Commander, Admiral Johnson replied, we did what needed to be done. That's what humans do. As news of the victory spread, the galaxy learned a new truth. Sometimes when ancient evils threaten the innocent, the only answer is to send hunters who understand that some enemies cannot be reasoned with, only destroyed. Humanity had answered the galaxy's cry for help with the one thing they understood better than any other species in the cosmos, the absolute determination to protect those who could not protect themselves, no matter the cost. 6 months had passed since the Great Devourer died, and the galaxy was a different place. Captain Jake Morrison, now promoted to Admiral, stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the Humanity's Will. Through the main window, he could see alien ships from dozens of different species. They were all here for the same reason, to witness humanity's formal entry into the Galactic Council. Admiral, called Lieutenant Ben Clark, now his communications officer. We're receiving a message from the Galactic Council station. They're ready for the ceremony. Jake nodded. It felt strange to be here for a celebration instead of a battle. For months, human ships had been hunting down the last few Devourer entities that had survived the death of their central mind. The final creature had been killed just 2 weeks ago. The galaxy was finally at peace. Take us to the station, Jake. Ordered. As humanity's will approached the massive space station, Jake thought about everything that had happened. The Galactic Council had built this station as a symbol of cooperation between different species. But until recently, they had never faced a real threat to their existence. President Mary Johnson appeared on the main screen, speaking from Earth. Admiral Morrison, how does it feel to be representing humanity at such an important moment? Jake smiled. It feels good, Madam President, but I wish Captain Williams and her crew could be here to see this. The President's expression grew serious. Sarah Williams and the crew of the Terran Vengeance will never be forgotten. They died so that billions of others could live. Yes, ma'am, Jake replied. He still thought about Sarah every day. She had sacrificed herself and her entire crew to kill the Great Devourer. Their names were now carved in stone on monuments across the galaxy. The docking process took several minutes. When it was complete, Jake and his honor guard made their way to the main council chamber. What he saw there took his breath away. The chamber was enormous, with seats for hundreds of representatives from different alien species. Some looked almost human, while others were so strange that Jake couldn't even guess how they moved or breathed. But all of them were watching him with expressions of respect and gratitude. High Commander HFY of the Astaran Empire stood at the center of the chamber. Admiral Morrison, he said in perfect English, welcome to the Galactic Council. Today, we formally invite humanity to join our alliance as full members. Jake walked to the center of the chamber. Around him, alien representatives from 17 different civilizations stood and applauded. It was a sound unlike anything he had ever heard, the combined approval of species from across the galaxy. High Commander, Jake said, humanity accepts your invitation, but I want to make something clear. We will always maintain our military strength. We will always be ready to defend the innocent. We would expect nothing less, HFY replied. Humanity has taught us that sometimes peace must be protected by those willing to fight for it. An alien with blue skin and 4 arms stood up. Admiral Morrison, my people are the Kerani. Our homeworld was one of the first attacked by the Devourers. Human ships saved over 2 billion of my people. How can we ever repay this debt? You don't owe us anything, Jake replied. Humans protect others because it's the right thing to do, not because we expect payment. Another alien, this one resembling a large bird, spoke next. Admiral, my species has studied human history. You have fought many wars among yourselves. How do we know you will not turn your weapons on us? Jake had expected this question. Because humans fight to protect what we care about. And now we care about all of you. Any species that threatens innocent life will face human opposition. Even if those species are more advanced than humanity? The bird-like alien asked. Especially. Then, Jake replied firmly. The chamber fell silent for a moment. Then High Commander HFY spoke again. Admiral Morrison, the Galactic Council has a gift for humanity. We are sharing our fastest ship designs and our most advanced technology. You have earned the right to stand as equals among us. Thank you, Jake said, but I have a request in return. Name it, HFY replied. We want to establish joint training programs. Human military officers will teach your people how to fight. Real wars, and your people can teach us about galactic politics and diplomacy. You want to teach us to be more like humans? Asked an alien with crystal-like features. I want to teach you to survive, Jake replied. The Devourers are gone, but there might be other threats out there. Next time, you should be ready to defend yourselves. The council voted unanimously to accept Jake's proposal. Over the following weeks, human military instructors arrived at alien worlds to begin training programs. At the same time, alien diplomats came to Earth to teach humans about galactic society. But not everyone was happy with humanity's new role in the galaxy. 3 months after joining the Galactic Council, Jake received an urgent message while patrolling the outer rim of known space. A new species had appeared, one that had never been part of the peaceful alliance. Admiral, reported Commander Paul Harris from his scout ship, we've got contacts approaching the vegan system. 12 ships, unknown design, and they're not responding to our communications. Any sign of hostile intent? Jake asked. They just destroyed a Galactic Council science station, Paul replied. I'd say that's pretty hostile, Jake sighed. He had hoped the galaxy would stay peaceful for a while longer. All ships set course for the vegan system. It looks like we have another problem to solve. As the human fleet jumped to faster than light speed, Jake opened a channel to the Galactic Council. High Commander HFY, we have a new situation. Unknown hostiles have attacked one of your science stations. Admiral Morrison, HFY replied. My people are analyzing the attack. These aliens appear to be slavers. They capture populations from weak worlds and sell them to other species. Slavers, Jake repeated, feeling anger build in his chest. How long has this been going on? For centuries, HFY admitted, but they have always stayed in the outer rim, away from council space. We negotiated treaties with them to avoid conflict. You negotiated with slavers? Jake asked in disbelief. Admiral, you must understand, we are a peaceful people. We solve problems through diplomacy, not violence. Jake thought about the millions of people who had probably suffered while the Galactic Council negotiated with their captors. High Commander, those treaties are over. Humanity doesn't negotiate with slavers. When the human fleet arrived at the vegan system, they found the alien ships surrounding a planet full of peaceful farmers. The slavers were already loading prisoners onto their vessels. This is Admiral Morrison of the human fleet. Jake broadcast on all frequencies. Release your prisoners immediately and leave this system. The response came back in broken galactic common language. Humans go away. This our business. We have treaty with Council. Your treaty just got cancelled, Jake replied. You have 1 minute to release those prisoners. Or what? The alien leader asked. Jake smiled grimly. Or you'll find out why the Devourers were afraid of us. The minute passed with no response from the slavers. Jake gave the order his crew had been waiting for. All ships open fire. Disable their engines, but try to keep their ships intact. We want prisoners to question. The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. The slaver ships were designed to prey on weak civilian vessels, not fight military warships. Human weapons tore through their defenses like paper. When it was over, every slaver ship was crippled and drifting in space. Their crews were taken prisoner, and the people they had captured were freed. But Jake wasn't finished yet. Commander Harris, take a team and download everything from their computer systems. I want to know where their base is and how many people they've enslaved. Yes, Admiral, Paul replied. What they found in the slaver computers horrified even the battle-hardened human crews. The slavers had captured over 50 million people from dozens of different worlds. Their main base was a heavily fortified station in the dark space between galaxies. Jake called another emergency meeting with the Galactic Council. High Commander, he said when HFY appeared on the screen, we need to talk about your treaty with the slavers. Admiral Morrison, I know you are angry, but those treaties have kept the peace for over 200 years. The peace for who? Jake demanded. What about the 50 million people they've enslaved? What about the families they've destroyed? HFY looked uncomfortable. Admiral, you must understand our position. A war against the slavers would cost many lives. High Commander, those lives are already being lost. You just choose not to see it. Jake made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. The human fleet is going to destroy the slaver base and free every person they've captured. Any council species that wants to help us is welcome. Any species that tries to stop us will be treated as an enemy. Admiral, you cannot make such decisions without council approval, HFY protested. High Commander, humanity didn't ask for permission to save you from the Devourers. We're not asking for permission now. The attack on the slaver base became the largest military operation in galactic history. 12 human ships supported by volunteers from 6 alien species assaulted a fortress that had existed for over 1,000 years. The battle was fierce and costly. The slavers fought desperately to protect their way of life. But they had never faced an enemy that fought